So this time around, I'd like to talk about toys and bones and things like that to be given these guys. And I thought I'd point this camera at somebody new today. Oh, really? This is the Sarah pups with two of the blush puppies as mentors, and they're doing a marvelous job for me about that. So this is the deal about toys and things like that as I see it. This is one of those choices that's very individual. It's really for the owner to decide. But these are considerations for you to factor in. I'm sorry about moving this camera, but I'm trying to get a good spot here. So the thing about that is, anything that you give a dog that the dog values is a resource. It's something that the dog may choose to defend. When you feed a dog, that's a resource, and if you're smart, when you feed a dog, you're there and you make sure that everything goes well. When you give a toy or a chewy thing or whatever, especially anything the dog is going to ingest, typically you give it to the dog to occupy the dog and you leave. So you walked away from the dog who lives with livestock and maybe a partner and maybe a pack of fools like these guys, and you no longer have eyes on the conduct of that dog with that resource. And he's got every right in the world to want to protect that resource. So let me tell you a story that might give you a little bit of example of one of the scenarios that can happen. Got to take a close-up of that. See that puppy straddling that older dog? That's very sweet of her to allow. So I had an adult dog that I sent to some friends of mine in Washington, and she had been a very successful guardian of miniature donkeys here, and that's what they wanted her to do up there. And they had nothing but trouble with her. And she would, out of the clear blue, race at the donkeys. She actually bit one of them and grabbed the jugular, and they had to pull her off, and nobody could figure out, including me, what in the world was the matter with this dog who'd been doing fine here. I just decided the dog should come home, and she was noisy, and that was hard on the neighbors. So with great crocodile tears, these people let this dog come back to me. She was very, very beloved, and this was confusing. I didn't know until more than a year later that they had been giving her what they consider environmental enrichment toys and things to play with, and that has to do with their background as trainers of marine animals and zoological animals, and making an environment more appealing and fighting boredom for animals like that. So they didn't tell me they were doing this. I didn't think to ask, and I should have. And what happened is this dog had a variety of things scattered around the field. And she probably had, let's say, for example, a 30-foot radius of whatever toy that was not okay for a donkey to walk in. So she's got scattered toys. She's got these like circles around out there all over the field. And these donkeys are unsuspectingly treading in and out of those areas. So she spent her time racing around, barking at and running off donkeys left and right, and nobody really understood what was going on. I have to say that I don't think that she was done any favors by giving those toys, because she didn't get a chance to relax and go to sleep somewhere, because she was always watching her back and watching those toys. So when I give like little dogs like this chewy things and toys and stuff, I give them about twice as many as there are puppies, so that I can downplay their inclination to guard them. And then I start to kind of set up a situation where they have to deal with the frustration of having had things taken away from them. It's something that it doesn't hurt them to learn. When the dogs go out and live with livestock and they have a partner is when I stop giving them things like that. I have 16 adult dogs here right now, and I can't off the top of my head think of any of them that I would be comfortable with giving a bone or whatever to and leaving them with the livestock. Go girl. Oh, a pup got run over. Hey little guys. You'll live. Come on back. When I give a resource like that to a dog that's out in a field, I can usually see a level of anxiety from the dog. So they don't relax and go and enjoy it. They have it and they own it and it's theirs and they're keeping it and nobody better take it. And it's, it's on. It's like that. So I don't do it. However, it can be done pretty safely if you have an area that you can put your dogs that is never common to livestock. So if you have what I describe and ask for my owners to have is an off switch pen, a place that you can put a pup that you need to take away from the herd for any variety of reasons, that can be the place that when they go in that place, they get something cool. They get a chewy thing or a toy or whatever. That works fine. They can handle working it out with each other for the most part. What I worry about is the conclusions they draw about how much it's fair to run off a sheep or a donkey or whatever. You can't get here. You're stuck over there. Yes, you are. So those are things to think about. So if you think that you're doing your dog a favor by giving them a treat, watch the behavior of the dog and see if you're right. Because if they become anxious because they feel the need to protect it, then you didn't really do anything very generous, even though your heart was in the right place. So it depends on the dogs, depends on the age, depends on the livestock, depends on all kinds of things. And those are factors that I consider when I decide whether this pair of dogs in this situation or whatever should have chewy things or not. I hope that helps.